Welcome to our Insight series on organizational well-being. Our question for this week is, why is workplace wellness critical to our nation's future? Number 32. As we think about the answer to this question of why is workplace wellness critical to our nation's future, we're going to look at a list of reasons in a moment. But before we do that, I wanted to share with you some of the data for the most, I believe, significant reason, and that is the implications of the economic effects of poor health in our population. Now, this particular report has been developed by Abaddon Health. It's called the Special Report, Organizational Health Costs of Unhealthy Habits, highlighting per capita costs using peer-reviewed data sources. It was published in December of 2020. There are actually a number of other studies which we go over on our website that confirm the magnitude of the kinds of data that we're going to look at in a moment. Now, the table is set up so it identifies modifiable health risk over here on the left. You can see stress, smoking, tobacco use, physical inactivity, depression, hypertension, obesity, poor health, insomnia, and binge drinking and alcoholism, or long range or long-term excessive alcohol consumption. The prevalence of these particular modifiable risk factors are listed here. Now, wherever you see numbers like footnote numbers on the data, that indicates which of the peer-reviewed articles they're drawing the data from. That is all in their report. Their report is also available on our website, chapmaninstitute.com, and you can download the report for no cost, and you'll be able to then match up the peer review articles with the specific data that we're seeing in this combined or collective table. So for instance, if we go down to physical inactivity, 28% of the US population is at risk to this particular modifiable risk factor. And it then adds an additional annual per capita, per individual health cost of $1,429. That can also be adjusted, by the way, with more recent data on the rates of growth in overall healthcare costs, the inflation that's going on in our medical markets. And then productivity loss includes studies that have to do with sick leave, workers' compensation, disability insurance costs, and what's called presenteeism. And presenteeism is essentially productivity loss when someone comes to work, stays at work, but they have these underlying modifiable health risk. So in this case, that's 1429 for the healthcare, 482 for the productivity loss, with a total of a little short of $2,000. If we took that amount and we multiplied it times 100 employees, that represents additional annual costs of $53,000 for a group of 100 employees. So it's a fairly significant increase in the cost of doing business and the labor costs associated with the healthcare costs for this population. So as you can see, many of these are specific numbers. We also have ranges for a couple of these. So you can take the midpoint of these ranges and actually do your own computations for your workforce if you accept this national data on prevalence, and that just means the proportion of the population where this particular risk factor shows up. And then you can add all of these together and multiply them times the size of your workforce to show how much cost is actually being used or consumed by these particular modifiable health risks, which, by the way, are some of the core health risks we deal with in wellness. So this data is showing you objective data about the effects of modifiable health risk, which are very prevalent. You can see in numbers as high as 48% of your population, having one of these modifiable health risks. The older your population, the higher the male content, the more cost you're likely to be experiencing. So this potential cost can be used to help justify our efforts in worksite wellness. It also provides one of the major reasons why worksite wellness is in fact critical to our nation's future. Now, in looking at the reasons and a more expanded set of reasons for why workplace wellness is critical to our nation's future, we start off with that economic rationale that we just went through in terms of the previous slide. So first, there are a large number of highly prevalent yet modifiable health risks, and that just means we can change these if we choose to, that consume a large percentage of current health plan cost, sick leave absenteeism cost, workers' compensation cost, disability insurance costs, and presenteeism cost for employers of all kinds and government agencies, nonprofits, and others, and health plans. These health risks are getting worse. They're not getting better on their own, and they threaten our competitiveness in national and global markets. And you can refer to the table that we just went through for some of that data that establishes the credibility of this particular point. Secondly, these same modifiable health risk factors also reduce the productivity of our labor force and therefore undermine our standard of living and job security. Third, these same modifiable health risk factors, which are the focus of our workplace wellness programs, lead to health problems. These are the chronic diseases that we generally are paying somewhere around 70 to 80% of our healthcare dollar for in the U.S. healthcare system, that significantly lessen our individual life satisfaction, life expectancy, it's been declining and continues to decline, and level of personal well-being. The fourth point and fourth reason why workplace wellness is critical to our nation's future is that according to the National Academy of Sciences, over the past 3 decades, the national level of health and healthcare literacy in the U.S. has significantly declined, leading to higher levels of population morbidity, that's illness and injury in our population, and mortality, premature mortality, dying before the average age of your life expectancy in your cohort in the population, significant increases in healthcare costs, loss of societal stability, family stability, community stability, and societal stability, and greater intergenerational dependency. The fifth reason that workplace wellness is critical to our nation's future is the threat of natural and man-made pandemic agents, such as COVID-19, has increased considerably along with the projected health challenges associated with climate change. So we have things on the horizon that we will have to contend with or deal with. Workplace wellness programs can significantly reduce these and additional underlying risk factors. So the use of a workplace wellness program can in fact address the things that are going to be a challenge for both our current employer situation as well as our future employer situation. The sixth reason is the continued erosion of the nuclear family and the mounting suspicions about the adverse long-term health effects associated with increased amounts of individual screen time are likely to further undermine the capability and resilience of our population. We really don't know the extent to which these massive technical and technological changes are in fact going to affect the future of our next generation and how that generation is prepared to carry the bulk of our responsibilities as a culture and as a society. Seventh, the workplace offers the only viable setting for the use of strong financial incentives for long-term personal health and wellness improvements. And with working over my lifetime of some 53 years of consultation in the workplace wellness field, I've worked with about 1,000 employer wellness programs. And I can tell you that without strong financial incentives, your wellness program is generally not going to have the reach that is necessary to address these challenges that are ahead. So, in summary, there are very significant reasons for and why workplace wellness programs are critical to our nation's future. However, workplace wellness programs must be done correctly in order to appropriately address the underlying causal concerns identified here. Now, for more information on this topic, you can try putting the following search strings into your web browser: benefits of workplace wellness programs, strategic value of workplace wellness, results of workplace wellness programs. Next week, we will address the question, what are typical goals of a workplace wellness program? For more information, please search on the web for the WellCert program, Certification and Tools for Results-Driven Wellness.